It's the final score on BBC One.
Trying to avoid relegation.
He was one of the heroes of the afternoon.
Applause from the away supporters.
The latest score is Wimbledon.
Go through to the Premier.
John Terry's tears, we all remember. It was two crucial weeks.
Hello, welcome to Final Score. A busy afternoon is well upon us here with those in League 1 and 2, especially facing a nervy final 20 minutes or so. Today's dynamic duo, Garth and Robbie, have been casting their eye over everything that's been happening over the last couple of hours on the Red Button and the website. And if you've got any questions for the guys, tweet them using the hashtag BBC Football and get involved via the live text on the BBC Sport website as well. OK, here are the latest scores in the Premier League for you. It's the early kickoff. I'll tell you about first. Manchester City 2, West Ham 1. City may have lost their title this week, but they did at least get back to winning ways. Goals from Aguero and Toure, Yaya Toure, that is, gave them victory over the Hammers at lunchtime. Everton 1, Fulham 0. The Toffees are keeping the pressure up on the top 5. Stephen Pienaar's first half goal. The difference at Goodison at the moment. Southampton trailing West Brom by 2-0. The Baggies are set to do the double over Southampton thanks to goals from Marc-Antoine Fortune and Romelu Lukaku, and both sides are down to 10 men. It's Stoke 1, Norwich City 0. Charlie Adams' goal just after half-time means Stoke are on course to reach the magical 40-point mark. And Wigan 2, Tottenham 1. If the Latics can hang on, they'll be out of the relegation zone this evening, and it would have dented Spurs' Champions League hopes in the process. Gareth Bale put the visitors ahead. Emerson Boyce got Wigan right back into it, and Callum McManaman's goal means Wigan's great escape is still on. Let's tell you about the Championship. Well, Hull City needed a win to clinch promotion to the Premier League, but they trailed 2-0. Relegation threatened Barnsley. Their battle with Watford for the final automatic promotion place looks set to go to the final weekend. Brighton are winning what could be a playoff place match there. Bolton and Crystal Palace are being held and may have to wait to secure their playoff spots. Wolves are down 2-0 down at home and could be 3 points adrift of their fellow relegation rivals heading into the final round of matches unless they can rescue something from the final 15 minutes of their game with Burnley. Barnsley are currently climbing out of the bottom 3, and Peterborough don't kick off until 5:20. And let's have a little look at League 1. Well, Brentford-Doncaster's the big match there. The winner promoted the Championship. A draw be enough. Doncaster are going up as it stands. It's a draw there at the moment. And Scunthorpe look to be down and out at the moment because Colchester are winning. Let's move on to League 2. In League 2, Port Vale promoted barring a mathematical improbability, although they currently trail to Wycombe. Rotherham lead relegation threatened Aldershot and will be joining Vale and champions Gillingham in League 1. And Aldershot are heading down. AFC Wimbledon are on course to join them, although Barnet, Dagenham, Redbridge, York, Plymouth and Torquay could all still be relegated. Let's first of all, though, go to the DW Stadium and hear about the game between Wigan and Tottenham with Damien Johnson.
Wigan 2, Tottenham 1. A cracking goal from Callum McManaman has put Wigan within touching distance of a crucial victory. An awful start for them. Robles and Figueroa very casual in defence. Robles attempted to clear, but his shot rebounded off Gareth Bale. 1-0 to Tottenham. Emerson Boyce equalised with a firm header. Then that McManaman goal, a lovely move from Wigan. His first touch took him into the area and he lashed it left-footed past Lloris. Spurs are desperate for victory themselves, of course, in the race for Champions League places, but it's Wigan, crucially, who lead.
And good for that lead.
Yes, they are good for that lead. Bearing in mind, Spurs were gifted a goal at the beginning of this game. I mean, I think it was Joel, the goalkeeper, and Figueroa. It was just amateur hour, and they got punished. Bale got the touch that put the ball back in the net. Ever since then, Wigan have got back into them. Great goal by Emerson Boyce from a corner, 1-1. But since that time, it's been Wigan who've been forcing the issue. McManaman scores a great second goal, fabulous second goal. And Spurs are lacking, for me, urgency. There's so much at stake here for Tottenham. They've been given a chance to get back into that Championship spot. And for me, they're not taking the game to Wigan. It's Wigan who's dominating, and it's Wigan who want it more.
OK, let's move on to the Britannia Stadium. And Stoke and Norwich playing a game which could see them secure their Premier League status for this season. Ivan Gaskell?
Yes, and at the moment it's Stoke who will be securing it. Long periods of tedium, punctuated by very occasional outbreaks of football. From one such moment, Stoke took the lead. Charlie Adam, with supporters barely back in their seats after the break, profiting from a typically direct Stoke move, though Adams' low finish was well taken. A niggly game. Norwich have barely registered a meaningful effort. Indeed, had Peter Crouch not completely missed the ball when 2 yards out around 10 minutes ago, Stoke could have been home and dry. Instead, well inside the last 15 minutes, they face a potentially nervy finish.
Leeds have got an equaliser, El Hadj Diouf against Brighton. We'll hear about that in a moment. Brighton were, of course, looking to secure their playoff place today. But let's go to St Mary's Stadium. Tony Husband has a goal for us.
Well, it's all happened here in the last few minutes. We've gone down to 10 v 10, and now Shane Long has wrapped up 3 points to West Brom with their third goal of the game, 14 minutes from time. Lukaku, who got the second, setting up Long for the third. Fortune and Ramirez off, 10 against 10 to both sides. Ramirez had lashed out an arm at Shane Long. Fortune was involved in something in a melee that followed. That saw the referee Bob Malley in his first Premier League game show 2 red cards. West Brom are going to win though, they're 3 up.
Let's go straight to Ellen Road. Peter Slater has a sending off and that goal to tell us about.
Got quite a lot to tell you about. The score is Leeds 1, Brighton 1. Calderon of Brighton sent off first of all for denying El Hadji Diouf a goal-scoring opportunity. Diouf took the penalty. That made it 1-1. Diouf has then been sent off. Now, I'm told it was for making a gesture to the Brighton supporters. I didn't see what the gesture was. The referee, Graham Scott, had a word with his captain, the Leeds captain, Lee Peltier, and a word with Diouf. Diouf was sent off, shown a straight red card, and made another gesture, put both his arms up as he went past the Brighton fans and down the tunnel. So Leeds down to 9 men, Brighton down to 10 men. It's 1-1, and we still have 13 minutes left for play.
And let's go to Oak. Well, Hull started the day knowing a win would guarantee them promotion. Harry Gratian has been at a very nervy Oakwell.
Oh, very nervy. The passion instilled by David Flitcroft since he became manager here at Barnes has paid rich dividends so far. Mellis scored after 4. O'Grady made it 2 on 50. Hull looked like a side with nothing to play for. It's mystifying. 6,000 fans silent for most of the match. Barnes are closer to survival. Hull still a long way, it seems, from the Premiership.
Hull choking?
Well, they've had some poor results recently. You know, they lost away at Wolves, 0-0 with Bristol City last week. Barnsley are quite good at home, to be fair.
Barnsley are fighting for survival.
Yeah, so it was a difficult game. Next week now is going to be massive for them. I think they've got Cardiff at home and Watford have got Leeds at home. You've got to say, I'm going to go for Watford.
I'm going to go for Watford.
Yeah, I fancy Watford. I think Brucey's done a fantastic job at Hull, but I think they're blowing it, they're panicking.
Watford are flying at the moment. They're flying.
Wolves definitely are not. At Molyneux, Jackie Oatley.
It's an absolute nightmare scenario for Wolves at the moment, trailing Burnley by 2-0 with results elsewhere going against them. The players have been hoping that something would happen rather than making it happen, and they've been hitting the ball long a great deal this afternoon. Danny Ings curled in the opener early on for Burnley. Martin Patterson early in the second half rifled in, and he could have made it 3 as well. Burnley down to 10 men in recent times after Duff's second yellow card. A little harsh it looked. Dumbia has since fired wide for Wolves. Sacco, young McAlinden making his league debut. He hasn't played first team football at all, and Dicko have come on. It's still Wolves 0, Burnley 2.
Thank you, Jackie. Let's go to League One and a game affecting those promotion places. Brentford against Doncaster. Brentford have got to win. Doncaster can get away with a draw. At the moment, it's Doncaster going up to the Championship at Griffin Park. To tell you about this one, Tony Lockwood.
So much at stake, and stalemate at Griffin Park. As a spectacle, it may not have lived up to the pre-match billing. That won't worry Doncaster if the scoreline stays the same. As you say, Brentford need to win. Bradley Wright-Phillips has struck the base of the Rovers' post. Jonathan Douglas skying over the bar from a wonderful position. It rather sums up Brentford's frustrating afternoon. Doncaster have defended well, and they're closing in on the result they crave. It's Brentford 0, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Let's go to Glanford Park. As things stand, Scunthorpe are down. Adam Pope.
That's because it's 0-0 against Swindon, who still look the most likely to score, and the fact that Colchester are winning away at Carlisle. So nothing is going their way. Huff and puff all the way for Scunthorpe, but they haven't forced the Swindon keeper, Wes Fodringham, into a meaningful save. They're heading back to League 2 after an 8-year absence. Scunthorpe 0, Swindon 0.
Dundee are heading out of the SPL. Ian Turner at Dens Park.
Well, they might not be heading out of the SPL this week because Ryan Conroy, the substitute, has just scored with a deflected 35-yard free kick. Ever since Andy Webster was sent off for a second yellow card in the first half, Dundee have been knocking on the door. They've finally got let through that door. They now lead 1-0, and with the result at Easter Road standing at 2-2, then they would survive for another week if things stay as they are. Dundee 1, Hearts 0.
Apologies, of course, they were 0-0 the last time I checked. Well done, Dundee, hanging on for another week. Let's go to Cherry Red Records Stadium. Wimbledon doing just enough at the moment, Chris Dennis.
More than enough. They lead Fleetwood by 2-1, which means that they're on course to retain their Football League status. The match flared into life after the hour with Gary Alexander rising to head Wimbledon ahead from a corner. Back at the other end 2 minutes later, Andy Mangan equalised for Fleetwood. So emotions swinging one way then the other for Wimbledon. And then with 20 minutes to go, Jack Midson, the leading scorer, with his 15th goal of the season from the penalty spot, which means that AFC Wimbledon are hanging on. And as things stand, they will be playing in the Football League next season. 2-1 they lead Fleetwood.
And it's not good news for Barnet. Let's go to Sixfield Stadium. Steve May.
They trail by 2-0 here. Northampton scoring twice in 6 minutes in the second half. Roy O'Donovan set up by Luke Guttridge, and then Guttridge himself set up by Akin Fenwa. Barnet will look back at two opportunities to take the lead in this match. Keanu Marsh-Brown in the first half, clean through, hit straight at the goalkeeper, and Elliot Johnson hit the crossbar. And it looks as if Barnet, after 3 successful final day escapes, have made it fourth time unlucky. It's Northampton 2, Barnet 0.
And it would be Aldershot joining them, as we know. But let's go to Scotland. Delith Lloyd can tell us about Rochdale Plymouth.
And it's Rochdale 1, 10-man Plymouth 0. It's going to be a nervy 7 or so minutes remaining for Plymouth, who of course need a point to guarantee survival and hope results go their way as well. Joe Bunny, though, scoring on his debut. A great cross coming in from the left. He rose above the Plymouth defenders to put Rochdale 1-0 up with around 7 minutes to go.
Let's hear about that Aldershot game there, of course, at the New York Stadium. Rotherham going up, Aldershot going down. Stuart Pike.
Yes, 1-0, Rotherham in front. That goal from the captain, Johnny Mullins. The tap-in after 64 minutes. Enough for Rotherham, and they're counting down. 6.5 minutes to the celebrations can really start here. Steve Evans with a third successive promotion as a manager it will be. He says this one will be the best of all. For Aldershot, 5 years after they came back into the Football League, they're heading back to the conference. It's Rotherham 1, Aldershot 0.
And that St Mirren goal there would relegate Dundee. They've taken the lead there at Easter Road. It's St Mirren 3, Hibs 2. There's time yet, though. Let's go to the Den. Andrew James, how's Forest attempts to rattle the top 6 going?
Well, they're looking good at the moment, still leading by the goal from Greg Holford early in the game, Gabby. A header unmarked from a corner. They've had the better of the game, but Millwall just beginning, having made their 3 substitutions, to push forward themselves. Don't underestimate the danger for Millwall here, because if Peterborough win tonight, then Millwall could be left needing points from their final 2 games. At home here on Tuesday to Palace and away at Derby on Saturday. They desperately need the points. Forest look to be neck and neck with Bolton now. Still Millwall 0, Forest 1.
They are indeed neck and neck with Bolton, who are neck and neck with Cardiff right now. Mark Poyser.
They are indeed. It's good news for the chasing pack as far as the playoffs are concerned. And it looks Cardiff who are more likely to score. Craig Noon's superb free kick has got the champions back in it, and they've done all the probing since his arrival. But Bogdan is keeping them at bay. Just over 5 minutes left. It's still 1-1.
And let's see how Palace are getting on at Ewood Park. Naz Premji.
Blackburn Rovers 1, Crystal Palace 1. Gabby, the sides level here, but Palace have created so many chances, and Glenn Murray guilty of missing a couple of gilt-edge opportunities. Ian Holloway very, very animated in the dugout just beneath us here. It's still level. It's Blackburn Rovers 1, Crystal Palace 1.
And you can see Swindon already secured of a playoff place. James Collins' goal there, all but basically resigns Scunthorpe to relegation at Glanford Park. Adam Pope.
It does, yeah. Swindon leading by a goal to 0, and straight after he scored his 18th of the season, Gabby, unsightly scenes as Scunthorpe fans came onto the pitch and were apprehended by police. They were led away. There is a little bit of to and fro between the 2 sets of fans where they join in the far right corner of the pitch as I look out. But at the moment, especially with Colchester winning at Carlisle and now with Swindon winning here at Scunthorpe, the Iron are going down to League 2 after an 8-year absence. It is Scunthorpe 0, Swindon 1.
A feisty affair at St Mary's this afternoon, and more to tell us about, Tony Husband.
Southampton down to 9 men now. You know what, Gabby, for most of this game, it wasn't dirty in any way at all, but Danny Fox has been red carded. Second red card for Southampton. This for a challenge on Stephen Reid. I've seen one replay. Awful challenge, diving in, two-footed, dangerous. No doubt that poor old Rob Madley in his first Premier League game made the right decision again. So 9 v 10 and West Brom 3 up.
Seems like it's been a comfortable afternoon for Everton. One of those grounds that Fulham just can't win at, James Mason.
They've never won here in the league, would you believe, in all these years of football being played. Everton 1, Fulham 0. It should be Everton 2 or 3-0, to be honest. The home side leading only through Stephen Pienaar's early goal. And it's been one-way traffic since then. The midfielder converting from close range following Seamus Coleman's cross. But in truth, as I mentioned, it should be 2 or 3-0. Everton will probably be disappointed with that. Saying that, they have a chance, but it's offside. Fulham have been lacklustre, limp, and they trail 1-0.
And Hibs have equalised again against St Mirren, which means Dundee live to fight another day in the SPL. It's 3-3 now at Easter Road. Let's go back to Oakwell. It's been Barnsley's day so far. Hull seem to be choking a bit, Harry Gratian.
They are choking big time here. They've had a couple of chances towards the end. Proshvitz had an effort and McShane, but we've still got this situation, Gabby, of 6,000 Hull fans who've hardly had their voice heard because they were here to celebrate. They're not at the moment. They're just waiting now for next week and hoping 2-0 to Barnsley. They deserve it, by the way. Played so well.
There's a goal at Molineux. Jackie Oatley, who's it gone to?
It's gone to Wolves. A small glimmer of hope from them with 2.5 minutes remaining, and it's a substitute, Dicko, who scored it. He hooked in after a corner was dropped to McAlinden, and Dicko, a couple of yards out, beat Grant, who's only just made his first save of the second half. It's Wolves 1, Burnley 2. Burnley with 10 men, but with just 2 minutes plus added time to go.
Is it all too little, too late for Wolves? They're in the bottom three as things stand on 52 points. Peterborough below them on 51. Relegated Bristol City, of course, have gone already. Barnsley's result, if indeed it is a result, Garth, seems to be the one of the day at the bottom there in the Championship, affecting both ends of the table because Wolves really are in trouble as they head to the final day now.
They are. I'm sorry, Gabby. I've been so absorbed by Tottenham, Wigan. It's very tight at the bottom. I know that Barnsley, if they win and they look like they're going to, I'm just looking at the game now, go on 54 points. Am I correct?
Yep, just said that.
I'm on the right game. Thank you.
Right game. Don't worry. You tell me what's enthralling you about Tottenham-Wigan, or Wigan-Tottenham, should I say?
Well, Spurs have got such a great opportunity to get into the top four and put the pressure on their neighbours Arsenal. And bearing in mind the performance they had last week against Manchester City, they just haven't turned up, and they were gifted their first goal. Terrible mistake by the Wigan goalkeeper. They've given them, and they just haven't performed.
I tell you what a win this will be for Stoke. And people criticise the way Stoke play, but the way they've played today, the goal typifies them perfectly. Great ball from Shawcross, great knockdown by Crouch, midfield running Charlie Adam, great finish. Great goal from Stoke, 40 points, 12th in the table if they win today. Tony Pulis, fantastic.
Goal!
OK, there's a goal at the DW Stadium. Let's hear from Damien Johnson.
It's gone to Tottenham, and it's barely deserved, really, because Wigan have been terrific in this second half. It was a free kick on the right-hand side, drilled across the face of goal by Tom Huddleston. And one or two players had a swing at it. I thought Bale got the final touch, but it may have gone in off a Wigan player. I'm looking at a replay now. I think it's gone in off Emerson Boyce ultimately, but it's 2-2.
Let's talk about that in a moment, but let's go straight. You can see that goal there has gone through at Elland Road, which would secure Brighton's playoff place. Peter Slater.
Yes, it's been scored by Brighton 2 minutes from time. Orlandi's cross, Ojoa, who's always been a threat, with a header right in front of Paddy Kenny. Powerful header as well. The referee, who's having a very interesting game, already sent 3 people off. He's now having a word with a couple of players. Surely there's not going to be a fourth sending off. 10 men of Brighton, 9 men of Leeds. Brighton heading for the playoffs. They lead 2-1.
Let's check in with Adam Pope at Glanford Park, because there's a goal been there since the last time I spoke to you, Adam.
Yes, after James Collins has scored for Swindon, his namesake Michael Collins has scored for Scunthorpe. It's not going to be enough for them at 1-1. Of course, with Colchester winning at Carlisle at the moment, there'll be 6 minutes of added time here, though, because of the crowd invasion after Scunthorpe have gone behind. But a draw is not good enough for them, and that's what's happening right now. They're heading for League 2. Scunthorpe 1, Swindon 1.
Just a good attacking option, or a good attacking moment there from Wigan, led to nothing.
It's still anybody's game,
Stretching
this. Wigan have really gone for this, and if they don't get 3 points, they'll feel aggrieved, because Spurs have got out of jail.
They'll look at the keeper for me, Robles. Joe Robertson goal. The first one, shocking amateurish decision to chip the ball out wide. Bale shut it down, scored. And then for me, I think he's got to do better on that goal there. I think he's got to do better.
It's a ricochet. It comes in. It's a soft goal to give away, and Wigan will be upset. They're going for the throat now. They're going for the third goal. But Spurs, if they get a point out of this, they've got out of jail.
Yeah. And a point, is that going to be enough? And it keeps them...
Is it not? Yeah, it is. Bearing in mind they've got a game in... Well, they've still got a game in hand, I think, on Arsenal.
But they've got to play Chelsea, though. That's the big one.
Yeah, well, they're capable of winning that.
OK, let's check in with Jackie Oatley at Molineux.
It's still Wolves 1, Burnley 2. Wolves have played 2 minutes of the 4 minutes to be added on. Dicko with that late goal just before added time, and then Kevin Doyle's just turned and fired over. As you'd expect, Wolves throwing absolutely everything, lumping it into the box against Burnley. So far are holding firm as they struggle to clear the ball, and even if they get an equaliser, here's Doherty, and that's deflected wide for a Wolves corner, but you suspect it'll still be too little too late. 2-1 Burnley.
Let's check in at the top of League One. Brentford-Doncaster. Brentford pushing for that winning goal at Griffin Park. Tony Lockwood, are they?
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to happen from Brentford's perspective. We've played just over 42 minutes. In fact, it's more like Doncaster with Billy Painter off the bench and going close a moment ago, closing in on a result that would mean an first return to the Championship at the first time of asking, relegated last May, and for Brian Flynn it would be among his career highlights. They've got a few minutes left here, plus of course stoppage time. It's still 0-0. That would be enough for Donny.
Let's go to the Cherry Red Records Stadium. Wimbledon doing enough at the moment to survive. Chris Dennis, nervy final few moments, I imagine these are.
Very much so, Gabby. Yes, we're, a minute and a half into 5 minutes of stoppage time. Wimbledon leading Fleetwood by 2-1. It's getting very nervy. The fans are on their feet, craning their necks, willing their side towards the victory that will retain their Football League status. 3.5 minutes to go. Wimbledon almost there. They lead Fleetwood by 2-1.
Let's go to the Sixfield Stadium. Are Barnet pushing for a last-minute goal that could take them out of trouble, Steve May?
Well, they're trailing here by 2-0, Gabby. In fact, Northampton have just had a corner, so it's all going one way at the moment. Northampton scoring twice in 6 minutes in the second half. Roy O'Donovan and then Luke Guttridge. We've got 1,300 Barnet fans here. Their only cheer of the afternoon, really, was when they heard that Fleetwood had equalised down there at Wimbledon, but they've all gone a little bit quiet right now because even with Edgar Davids, they look to be going out of the Football League. It's Northampton 2, Barnet 0.
Thank you, Steve. Let's go to that this game had very little riding on it. It did have plenty of feistiness, didn't it?
Well, it certainly did at the end. As I said, Gabby, it wasn't really a dirty game, but it finished with 9-10 and West Brom's first win at Southampton for 44 years. Ramirez and Danny Fox off for the home side. Ramirez lashing out at Shane Long. Fox with a horrible two-footer on Stephen Reid. Marc-Antoine Fortuné went off in between after a melee following the first red. He'd earlier given West Brom the lead. Lukaku, who'd spurned numerous chances, rounded the keeper for 2. Shane Long got the third, left-footed from just inside the box. 3 points West Brom.
And it's all over at Molineux. It's not gone the right way for Wolves fans, though, and they're venting their frustration, Jackie Oatley.
They are. They've lost 2-1 at home to Burnley, and the Wolves fans from the South Bank away to my right have raced onto the pitch as the players were down on their knees, resigned to relegation to League One. And the Wolves fans have raced on towards the dugout areas and are being held back by a line of stewards in their fluorescent orange coats, angrily screaming at Steve Morgan and Jez Moxey, the chief executive, but primarily Steve Morgan for decisions made as a missile has been thrown. It looks like a shoe or something towards the director's box, but it fell well short. Wolves fans have been shouting as they were trailing 2-0 earlier on that if we lose then we'll go on the pitch, and that's what they've done. Wolves 1, Burnley 2, with more to come.
Thank you, Jackie. Let's go to the DW. It's all over there, and in spite of their best efforts, Wigan couldn't get the win, only took the point. Damien Johnson.
That's right, 2-2 it finished. There was a mad scramble at the Wigan end as Spurs pressed for a winner, but ultimately a late equaliser denied Wigan 3 points, and on balance they probably point for Spurs. Wigan will feel that it's 2 dropped.
And let's go straight to the Britannia. It's all over there. Tony Pulis's men have done enough to survive once more in the Premier League, Ivan Gaskin, and perhaps silence some of the boo boys.
Yes, I think the sound that was emanating from the Britannia Stadium at the end was one of relief, because they've reached that 40-point mark that Tony Pulis craved, but it was rather painful getting there this afternoon. All a bit of a grind. It was rather tetchy, and it was all punctuated by the only goal of the game. It was enough. Charlie Adam, 46 minutes with people barely back in their seats after the half-time break. He took it well enough. It was trademark Stoke. Norwich barely mustered a shot and barely deserved anything, which is precisely what they got. Nothing at all. Their anxious days and nights will continue. Stoke will feel they're in the comfort zone. 1-0 winners here.
And it all started at Oakwell today, looking like Hull had a win to achieve to become Premier League side once more, but it was Barnsley who decided it was going to be their day. They're desperate to get out of trouble, and they've done themselves no harm at all at Oakwell. Harry Gratian.
Yeah, great result for them for almost 90 minutes, Gabby. Hull never troubled Barnsley keeper Luke Steele. 6,000 fans here to watch Hull move into the Premiership. Think again. Barnsley battling for survival, played with passion. Superb defence and 2 goals to shatter Hull. Mellis got the first after 4 minutes. Great shot, acute angle. The second on 50 came from O'Grady, richly deserved. Why Hull played with such a lack of fire is mystifying. The Premiership looks a long way off for them, but Championship survival for Barnsley is back on.
Is this the most dramatic ending to the match at Griffin Park? Tony Lockwood, explain.
Well, there's a penalty, and to be absolutely honest, Gabby, no one around me seems to be completely clear as to why it's been given by the referee, Mr. Oliver. So, Brentford have an opportunity where I make it 4 minutes into what is 5 minutes of stoppage time. So less than 60 seconds remaining. Michael Oliver points to the spot. Neil Sullivan is booked and waits on his goal line. Is it going to be the substitute, Marcello Trotter, with an opportunity to win this game for Brentford? It's win or bust. It could be promotion here in West London. Steps up, left foot, and it comes back off the post. And Doncaster survive, and Brentford have squandered a glorious opportunity. And now Billy Painter on the breakaway, and Coppinger will score and send Doncaster into the Championship in the most dramatic of conclusions. Penalty missed, Coppinger at the other end. It's 1-0 Doncaster. They're going up.
Thank you, Tony.
Oh, my
word.
What an
incredible final few moments in that game.
Listen, he smashed the penalty. It's hit the underside of the bar. As it crossed the line, we don't know. They've broke up the end of the pitch, and Coppinger scored. Oh, dramatic scenes.
He didn't even need to score, because the draw would have been enough for Doncaster Rovers, but they are now in the Championship next season, you would think. And this, obviously, there are a few moments left, but 2 goals is a lot to ask from Brentford, who hadn't really threatened.
Oh, they're in bits.
OK, let's go straight to the Cherry Red Records Stadium. Wimbledon have survived. Chris Dennis.
Yes, they have. 4,700 Wimbledon fans in a delirious pitch invasion here at Kingsmead, because Wimbledon have pulled off the great escape and will play in the Football League next season. The game decided in 10 second-half minutes. Gary Alexander headed them in front on the hour mark. Andy Mangan scrambled in an equaliser within 2 minutes to break Wimbledon hearts, or so we thought. But Jack Midson warmed them again from the penalty spot to give the Dons that all-important win. Wimbledon survived. Jack Midson, the hero, in front of me, aloft as the fans celebrate. It's finished AFC Wimbledon 2, Fleetwood Town 1.
Let's go straight to Elland Road, because Brighton have secured their playoff place. Peter Slater.
Yes, they have. They've beaten Leeds by 2 goals to 1. The players have just thrown their shirts to the travelling supporters. A game which included 3 red cards, including one really controversial one. Brighton in front after 10 minutes through Will Buckley. Leeds down to 10 men 2 minutes later. Rodolphe Austin raising his hands to Ashley Barnes. Leeds level with quarter of an hour to go. Calderon sent off for denying El Hadji Diouf a goal-scoring opportunity. Diouf converted the penalty and was then sent off for making what I can only call a gesture to the Brighton fans. So Leeds down to 9 men, and Brighton winning with 5 minutes to go. Ulloa heading in Orlandi's cross. As you say, they go to the playoffs, but it was quite a game. 2-1 Brighton.
And we know that next season Leeds will be playing Doncaster at some point, because it's all over at Griffin Park and the prize has gone to them. Tony Lockwood.
Yes, Brentford will never come closer. Marcello Trotter's penalty miss. James Coppinger on the breakaway with an unguarded net. And at the first time of asking, they are back in the Championship. Brian Flynn, a 21-year playing career, but this will rank among his highlights. You have to feel for Brentford a moment like this. A penalty miss, and then Doncaster seal the win. 1-0 triumph today at Griffin Park. They are promoted.
Of course, Brentford could still do it in the playoffs, but it's a big ask, especially after a dramatic finish that they've just had there.
I've got to say, Robbie thought there's a sense that maybe it went over the line. No, I don't think so, but I'd be interested to see it again.
I don't know, but the way...
Yeah, we need to move on. We need to move on. We need to go to the New York Stadium. Stuart Pipe, Rotherham have been promoted.
Yes, Rotherham into League One, and the manager Steve Evans and chairman Tony Stewart celebrating about 50 yards away to my left. Second half goals from the captain Johnny Mullins, and then Lee Frecklington curling in a second in stoppage time. Aldershot then, their relegation back to the conference after 5 years in the Football League confirmed. A pitch invasion in celebration, and 10,000 Rotherham fans getting ready to party in South Yorkshire. Rotherham are promoted, Aldershot are out of the Football League. 2-0 here it finished.
And so are Edgar Davids Barnet at the Sixfield Stadium. Steve May.
Yes, they lost here by 2-0, but Barnet will look back at two missed opportunities to take the lead in this match. Keanu Marsh-Brown in the first half, clean through, hit straight at the goalkeeper, and then at the start of the second half, Elliot Johnson hit the crossbar. The goals came, two of them in 6 minutes in the middle of the second half, Roy O'Donovan and then Luke Gutteridge. And Barnet, after 3 successful final day escapes, have made it fourth time unlucky, even with Edgar Davids. It finished here, Northampton 2, Barnet 0.
A little bit later than usual, we're going to head towards the classifieds. We'll get all the reaction analysis from all the day's action and all the ups and downs still to come. But here's Mike West.
And beginning with the Barclays Premier League, Everton 1, Fulham 0. Manchester City 2, West Ham United 1. Newcastle United against Liverpool, an evening kick-off at 5:30. Southampton 0, West Bromwich Albion 3. Stoke City 1, Norwich City 0. And Wigan Athletic 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. On to the Empire Championship, Barnsley 2, Hull City 0. Blackburn Rovers 1, Crystal Palace 1. Blackpool 2, Derby County 1. Bristol City 1, Huddersfield Town 3. Cardiff City 1, Bolton Wanderers 1. Ipswich Town 3, Birmingham City 1. Leeds United 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 2. Middlesbrough 2, Charlton Athletic 2. Millwall 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Peterborough United against Sheffield Wednesday, an evening kick-off at 5:20. And Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Burnley 2. In the Empire League 1, Brentford 0, Doncaster Rovers 1. Bury 3, Yeovil Town 2. Carlisle United 0, Colchester United 2. Crawley Town 2, Hartlepool United 2. Crewe Alexandra 2, Walsall 0. Leyton Orient 1, Oldham Athletic 1. Notts County 2, Coventry City 2. Scunthorpe United 3, Swindon Town 1. Sheffield United 0, Preston North End 0. Shrewsbury Town 3, Portsmouth 2. Stevenage 0, Milton Keynes Dons 2. And Tranmere Rovers 0, AFC Bournemouth 0. The Empire League 2, Accrington Stanley 0, Oxford United 3. AFC Wimbledon 2, Fleetwood Town 1. Burton Albion 3, Gillingham 2. Cheltenham Town 0, Bradford City 0. Chesterfield 4, Exeter City 0. Dagenham and Redbridge 0, York City 1. Northampton Town 2, Barnet 0. Rochdale 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Rotherham United 2, Aldershot Town 0. Southend United 0, Morecambe 1. Torquay United 3, Bristol Rovers 3. And Wycombe Wanderers 1, Port Vale 1. Into Scotland and the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League. Aberdeen 1, Kilmarnock 0. Dundee 1, Hearts 0. Hibernian 3, St Mirren 3. And St Johnstone 1, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0. The Iron Brew Scottish Division 1, Airdrie United 0, Livingston 2. Cowdenbeath 2, Dumbarton 3. Greenock Morton 0, Hamilton Academical 2. Partick Thistle 3, Dunfermline 3. And Wraith Rovers 0, Falkirk 0. The Scottish Division 2, Alloa Athletic 4, Albion Rovers 1. Ayr United 0, Arbroath 1. Brechin City 1, Stenhouse Muir 2. Queen of the South 2, East Fife 2. And Stranraer 0, Forfar Athletic 3. The Scottish Division 3, Berwick Rangers 0, Annan Athletic 2. East Stirlingshire 2, Rangers 4. Montrose 1, Queen's Park 2. Peterhead 3, Clyde 0. And Stirling Albion 1, Elgin City 1. On to the Corbett Sports Welsh Premier. After 3:45 kickoffs, these are all latest scores. Ballatown 0, Gap Connors Quay 0. Bangor City 0, The New Saints 2. Newtown 0, Avon Lido 0. Port Talbot Town 0, Airbus UK Broughton 0. And Prestatyn Town 1, Carmarthen Town 1. Lastly, the Danske Bank Irish Premiership, Ballymena United 1, Dungannon Swifts 2. Cliftonville 2, Ballina-Mallard 1. Glenavon 3, Donegal Celtic 1. Glentoran 1, Coleraine 1. Linfield 1, Crusaders 2. And finally, Portadown 1, Lisbon Distillery 0.
Let's have a little look then at the Premier League table. Champions Manchester United play Arsenal tomorrow. Manchester City moved a step closer to securing second place with a win against West Ham today. Chelsea are also in action tomorrow. They go into that game hanging on to fourth on goal difference after Tottenham could only manage a draw. At the bottom, Wigan's draw with Spurs means they stay in the relegation zone. Aston Villa have the chance to pile more pressure on the Latics when they play Sunderland on Monday. QPR and Reading play tomorrow. The losers of that game will definitely be relegated and both could be down by Monday evening. Let's have a look at the Championship. Hull City blew their chance to join champions Cardiff in the Premier League. Their defeat at Barnsley ensures the battle with Watford for the final automatic promotion place will go down to the wire. Brighton won to book their playoff place, but the other two remaining places are up for grabs. Already relegated Bristol City lost to Huddersfield, which leaves the Terriers on the brink of safety. Wolves were beaten and will kick off 3 points adrift of safety next weekend as they battle to avoid relegation to the third tier of English football for the first time since the 1988-89 season. Barnsley won to move 3 points clear of Peterborough. They play Sheffield Wednesday in the evening kick-off. Doncaster claimed promotion to the Championship after a dramatic match with Brentford. The Bees had the chance to snatch an automatic promotion place but missed a last-gasp penalty. They must now settle for a spot in the playoffs. You'll get a chance to relive that shortly. And Doncaster's win also clinched the title at the expense of already promoted Bournemouth, who were held to a draw at Tranmere. At the bottom, Hartlepool, Bury, Portsmouth already down, and it was Scunthorpe who joined them to play in League Two next season. The Iron did win today, but Colchester's victory over Carlisle sealed their fate in the end. And League Two, where Rotherham and Port Vale will join already confirmed champions Gillingham in League One next season. Victory for Rotherham sees them climb above Port Vale, who could only draw today. Burton will play Bradford in the playoffs, with Cheltenham taking on Northampton in the battle for promotion. And let's have a look at the bottom. Aldershot could not find the win they needed. They're relegated out of the Football League after a 5-year stay. And there were no final day heroics for Barnet this year. They'll join the Shots in the conference next season. The Bees end the season with an identical record to Dagenham and Redbridge, but are relegated on goal difference. And the SPL. Celtic, who play Motherwell tomorrow, have already retained their title. St Johnstone beat Inverness to keep up the chase for a European place. At the bottom, Dundee have staved off relegation for yet another week. The Dark Blues beat Hearts, while St Mirren were held at Hibs. OK, let's hear now from Wigan manager Roberto Martinez. I wonder if he'll feel like his side threw it away in the end. He's talking to Damien Johnson.
Roberto, first of all, is it points dropped?
No, it's another point. You need to remember first and foremost that we were playing against an outstanding side, that they fighting to get into the Champions League and Champions League spot, and I thought we were magnificent throughout. And when you do that, is a point gain.
A contentious equaliser for them at the end. What was your view of the build-up to it, the foul for the free kick?
Well, I think it was clear as the game was live. I just realised that obviously Walker pulls Jan Boussigeau and is a free kick the other way. Then using the experience goes down too easy and is the wrong decision, and it cost us too much. That's a real disappointment, that playing against such a talented side like Spurs. Obviously the first goal is our own downfall, and the second one is just a free kick. So it shows you how well we stopped them, how well we created our chances, and it was a performance well worthy of the 3 points.
Well, what a topsy-turvy game it was. Guy Mowbray was there for Match of the Day. Guy, it does feel a bit like Wigan threw it away at the end, especially after that terrible start that they had. McManaman's super strike, and Spurs got out of jail.
Yeah, they did, to be honest, Gabby. Yeah, as you say, they were gifted the lead, really. It's horrendous. You'll have to see it on Match of the Day tonight. The mix-up between Figueroa and Joel for the opening goal. Then the strike from McManaman to give them the lead, 2-1 Wigan, early in the second half. And then, well, that's the Wigan view we've just heard from Roberto Martinez. If you support Spurs, you'll see it entirely the other way. 50-50, if you like. Boussigeau seemed to get across Kyle Walker. That was in the build-up to the free kick that led to the Spurs equaliser. And Wigan, again, for another game, I think that's the third game in a row, didn't take the chances. They could have put this to bed. It might cost them at the end of the season.
We'll have a look. Thank you very much, Guy. Not to be missed, as you say, on Match of the Day, for nothing more than that McManaman goal, super goal. And you can see it all 10:30, BBC One. Gary has Phil Neville and Alan Shearer with him this evening. And tomorrow, Colin Murray will welcome Michael Owen and Les Ferdinand to the Match of the Day. To studio, Arsenal, Manchester United, of course, one of the day's fixtures. I wonder if Robin van Persie is going to be strategically rested for that one. The champions' first game, of course, after they won and secured it against Aston Villa earlier in the week. Let's have a quick one, though, with you, Garth, about that Spurs get-out-of-jail point they earned in the end.
I think you've got two very frustrated managers for very different reasons. Martinez, who feels that his side deserved 3 points, that his team gifted Spurs goals, but an indication they played well because they still got a point out of it, keeps their relegation fight alive. The most relieved person out of all of this will be Paul Lambert and Aston Villa. Tottenham on the other side didn't turn up today for me. Didn't turn up. Had a bit of a flurry for the second goal,
especially after that
but got out of jail.
Against Manchester City.
Exactly. It was bizarre.
No,
defensively as well, I thought Dawson Vertonghen.
Poor.
Very poor today. Dawson was all over the place at times, and that's the worry for Spurs now.
But they're just coming off form.
Yeah.
If they're serious about Champions League, they've got to really pick up the importance of where they are and how badly they want it.
OK, we think we should relive those dramatic scenes at Griffin Park. Remember, Brentford needed the win to secure promotion. Doncaster only needed the draw. In the last moments of the game, Brentford won this penalty. Marcello Trotta, as Robbie says, does everything right, smashes it. Brentford try and have a little flurry, see if anybody else can pick it up in the box. But no, it goes to a Doncaster player. Upfield, of course, Brentford have got everybody back in the Doncaster box. It gets up the other end of the pitch, and James Coppinger seals the deal.
You've got to feel sorry for Trotter. Listen, he's done everything right in terms of he hasn't tried to be clever. He's put his head down, he's smashed it, and if in doubt, smash it. He's hit the bar, it's come out wrong side of the line, and they've broke. Painter and Coppinger. It's so cruel for Brentford.
Don't underestimate the pressure on the player Trotter. It is a momentous moment. You know, these are Premier League players, international players choke in those situations. He will feel awful for the rest of the season, the summer and everything.
It's a chance to make amends. They're in the playoffs. It's going to be very hard to pick yourselves up, isn't it, when you've been so close to doing it automatically?
Very well. You know, 18 seconds it took for that goal, you know, from one end to the other. You've got to feel for Brentford now. And if Hull don't go up next week, the momentum with the other teams around them.
The momentum does seem with Watford anyway at the moment.
But Gabby, just one last comment. The ball for Chris Brown out of the box. I can't remember who played it out the box. It is the ball of a lifetime because it's out of all the mayhem in the 18-yard box. He picks out Brown, who starts the run. It's a fantastic.
They only needed the draw as well, but sealed it with the win. OK, well, all the goals from the Football League are with Manish after Match of the Day this evening, 11:55 on BBC One, and all the ups and downs of League One and Two. Let's have a little chat about Stoke, who, of course, secured that win, a valuable win against Norwich today, up to 40 points.
Colleague here,
well, you've had a big argument earlier on the red button, as
yeah.
people didn't see it, about Tony Pulis and his future at Stoke. Have you changed your mind?
No, not at all. It's a vital win. I'm a Stoke lad. I want Stoke to stay up. I think what I'm echoing is the views of a lot of Stoke fans who feel that the staple diet that Tony's been turning out in the team has been difficult. They want better football.
Should we get the thoughts of Jonathan Pearce,
Sure.
who is at the Britannia Stadium? He's been commentating for Match of the Day, of course. There was a big argument here in the studio about Tony Pulis and the kind of job he can do at Stoke and keep going, because there have been a few boo boys in the last week or so, haven't there, saying that his time is up. Did you feel that it turned a bit there today with that result?
Well, certainly they celebrated at the end, Gabby. I think the time for this team is up. I think some of them are coming towards the end. He's got great things out of players who are now in the autumn of their career. One or two haven't done it that he signed this season up to their best. Charlie Adam, for one. He lost, I think, his dad, certainly a family member this year. He responded today, though, by getting a great goal, very good second half. And Zonzi hasn't been at his best. His signings haven't really worked to date. Maybe they will next season. He'll certainly need the club to match the sort of investment they're making off the field of play in the academy with the investment they need to make at first team level to push them to that sort of next level. But I think he remains the man in charge here. He still has the ear of the chairman, Peter Coates, and he's not walking away anytime soon. Tony, he's a scrapper, he's a fighter, and he'll stay on. And they responded well to him today, the Stoke fans. It wasn't a classic, but it was fascinating to watch because it was so important, it was so tense, and Norwich City didn't really deserve anything. I heard Ivan's report earlier on. They didn't create a chance on goal, really, and they got nothing out of the game. They'll be still looking over their shoulder. I think they'll be OK with the games they've got at home, but for Stoke City, 40 points, a huge barrier to reach. Thanks
a lot, Jonathan. You're making the point there. What is that next level?
You hear people say about, well, somebody to take Stoke onto this next level. Well, they're 12th in the Premier League. They got 40 points. They're a fantastically well-run club. What is the next level? I don't get that. Are they going to be a top six? No, never.
No.
Are they going to be 8th or 9th? They're 12th.
Well, don't say never. I'm old enough to know.
Are they going to be in the top 6?
I mean, I'm old enough to see. I've seen Stoke on top of the first division.
Different now. It's different now.
It is. Well, that's a fair point. But what Stoke fans want to see is a brand
push to be a top 6. They may have finished 8th, but that's what they pushed for.
What Stoke fans want to see is what I mean is a brand of football. They don't particularly want to win anything yet, but they want to see the team progress and the brand of football become a little bit more acceptable. They don't want to be a bit of a laughing stock. They don't want to see long ball.
So the goal today is a perfect example of good play. Shawcross's long ball, Crouch cushioned it, great midfield run, challenge scores.
Robbie, there's nothing wrong with the goal. Nothing wrong with the goal. It's him talking about the brand of football. That's what we're talking about. You know exactly what I mean. And the fans are entitled to ask
Alan
for that.
Kirbysley, Charlton Athletic, that's what
you do take that risk. I admit you do take the risk, but you're asking me what the fans are concerned about with Tony. It's a brand of football. That's it. The manager has done a fantastic job. He's a wonderful guy to work for by all accounts. It's the brand of football they're concerned about.
If he doesn't change, what would you do?
Then I think there's going to be a problem for Tony. I think that the dissenting voice will continue.
Depending on what kind of start they have to next season.
Yeah, people want... Look, the priority is to stay in the Premier League, make no mistake, and Tony's done that again. All credit to him. But if they can increase that brand of football, that will change.
Guys, I've enjoyed your company so far this afternoon. There's plenty more to come from all of us. That's it for Leagues 1 and 2 today. It's the final day of the Championship next week. We're on air slightly earlier, 2:15 on the red button for that one, 4:30 on BBC One. Garth and Robbie are staying with me. You can too, if you like, on the red button. Until next week, though, goodbye.